Hello and welcome to Enclave Comics, a haven for all things comics. On October 7th, I went to go see the Joker movie for my birthday, and I just had to give my own take on it. By the way, this review will contain major spoilers from Joker, so you've been warned. Anyways, please enjoy the review and like, comment, and subscribe. When I first heard about this film's existence back in 2018, I didn't know what to think of it. An Elseworlds Joker origin without Batman, set in the 80s, seemed quite strange. Not to mention Todd Phillips at the time had only been known for the Hangover films, which I had never seen. Modern comedies generally aren't my thing anyhow. However, once Joaquin Phoenix had been cast as Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, I felt very excited, as everything he associates himself with is always excellent. Once the first pics were leaked online, I was interested in this new origin, but the new look for Joker seemed odd, especially the red eyebrows on his forehead, but nonetheless, I remained hopeful. As the credits rolled, let's just say I was immensely surprised by the movie. Obviously, Joaquin Phoenix glues you to the screen and always captures your attention. He definitely deserves an Oscar for this performance. I felt a great unease while seeing Arthur laugh in the strange situation he finds himself in, due to suffering from a neurological disorder that causes sufferers to laugh, cry, or both, uncontrollably. His insanity creeps you out, but mostly just makes you sympathize with him, well after he puts on the clown makeup and dyes his hair in the final act. The Killing Joke influence in this film is one you can't miss, and while it's a different take, it stays true to what makes the Joker, Joker. Gotham's filthy, run-down aesthetic is beautifully filmed by Todd Phillips, who's obviously inspired by Martin Scorsese and his 70s films like Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. Scorsese even helped produce Joker. Nonetheless, those inspirations still create something unique here, even if it's a play on what we have already seen before. Anyways, the cinematography is so clean and real. Man, is it refreshing to see no CGI in a movie, which is the status quo of most films these days, especially comic book films. All those elements help put the viewer in Arthur's shoes of spiraling insanity, as before he kills those Wall Street bastards and goes on a revenge spree later in the film, he really is trying hard to maintain his sense of sanity, or at least the little bit that he has left. The supporting cast also does a fantastic job of further immersing you in Gotham, especially Robert De Niro as Murray the talk show host, who inspires Arthur to want to be a stand-up comedian. He even has a journal of jokes that he keeps around, filled with ghastly and morbid inscriptions. Another aspect of Joker that is really fascinating is Arthur's mind creating delusions he isn't aware of. A good example of this would be the character of Sophie Dumond, who becomes Arthur's girlfriend, very unrealistically. Watching these two interact constantly made me question if their relationship was even real. Thankfully, it wasn't. The scene where Arthur is in Sophie's apartment and she tells him he's in the wrong apartment perfectly showcases this. He had created a delusion that they were together to comfort himself in his darkest moments. Which brings me to the character of Arthur's mother. In the first act of the film, I believe that she was just as the trailer depicted her to be, a frail, older woman with potential lunacy. Well, the trailers did not even get to the surface of that craziness. She tells Arthur that he is the illegitimate son of Thomas Wayne, who is currently running for mayor, spurring Arthur to go to Wayne Mansion, where he meets Bruce as a young boy. Some may not have liked the inclusion of this element in the film, but personally, I liked it, and thought it amplified Arthur's tragedy. It's also neat to see this film connect to the larger Batman universe. More on that later, though. Arthur's hunt for Thomas Wayne eventually leads him to meeting him in a bathroom stall. The two engage in conversation, and Thomas tells Arthur the same thing Alfred tells him back at the manor, that Arthur is not his son, and that his mother fabricated the story due to her delusions. Of course, Arthur does not believe this and is enraged, but in his stress, he begins to laugh and is punched in the face by Wayne. Most of this scene I actually don't have a problem with, except for the fact that Thomas is so rude to him. I am a devoted Batman fan, and I get that this film is Elseworlds, but that still bothered me greatly to see Wayne act so pathetic like that. After Arthur's mother suffers a stroke, she is hospitalized, and as usual, he is by her side. He later digs deeper into what Thomas told him about being adopted and eventually gets the answers he needs by stealing his birth certificate because the clerk wouldn't give them to him. Learn the truth about his origin and how he was beaten by her husband. Arthur begins to laugh uncontrollably once again. He then goes to the hospital where his mom is and brutally murders her by suffocating her with a pillow. Not that I condone his actions in this part of the film. I do understand it. How could his mom be so selfish and not tell him the truth? The revelation that he received severe head trauma as a child makes sense as to why he is the way he is. But maybe she never told him the truth because she was so swollen up in her own delusions. She did not even realize it. Broken, jobless, and mocked by Murray on live television, Arthur goes down the rabbit hole even further, perfectly mirroring Gotham's descent into anarchy as the clown revolution is well underway. Which is ironic considering Arthur started it in the first place with his subway murders because he was dressed as a clown. Going into more detail with the action sequences, this film is primarily a character study and a thriller, but contains some very nice, hectic action scenes. From Arthur killing the Wall Street pricks in the subway to the great chase scene and the scene where he kills his former boss. None are quite as engaging as the most climactic action scene in the film, where Arthur is called to Murray's show for viewers' amusement. Arthur, now in Joker makeup and suited up for carnage, goes to Murray's show and confesses that he killed those Wall Street men, shocking the whole audience. Joker then kills Murray after having a big debate on right and wrong and how Gotham is a horrible place, including Murray, all on live television. This film isn't just a character study of someone being pushed to the edge by corruption, madness, and bad luck. It's also about the corruption of the government and how the system forsakes the mentally ill, as they did with Arthur, providing another nail in the coffin for why he went insane. It also creates the idea that the system's failures create the Joker, who indirectly killed Bruce's parents, priming future Gotham City for Batman's arrival and lifelong crusade against crime, long after the Joker is born. The best thing is that this film makes this idea work wonderfully. Who knows, in this Gotham City, the Joker from the comics could very well be inspired by Arthur Fleck. Some view the final scene where Arthur is in Arkham Hospital as proof that this whole film was just a delusion in his head. But I disagree and implore people to understand that everything minus Arthur's relationship with Sophie Dumond was real. The quote, "You wouldn't get the joke," that Arthur said to the therapist in Arkham, states that she could never really cure him of his illness, and she could never understand why he did all he did. That he chose what he chose, and that the system and the people of Gotham had taken its toll on him. But he truly wasn't sad anymore. He felt free, and that the chaos in Gotham is where he belonged. Now, this take on Joker is certainly one of the best in film history, and even improves from The Killing Joke in ways, by adding so much more details about Joker's mental problems, and grounding his transformation to be more realistic, like The Dark Knight did. But it is far too unique to be considered definitive, and of course, you still need the other side of the coin to truly be definitive. Who knows though, this film could always be connected with Matt Reeves' upcoming Batman trilogy. That'd be incredible. Overall, Joker is a depressing, fantastic film, detailing a man's fall to insanity, despite trying everything he could to keep smiling and be happy. It is a film about enough is enough, and that anarchy is what can happen to those who do not take care of their people. It's about how being deceitful and maintaining a lie can never be the answer, and it's a film that shows what happens when chaos is the only answer sometimes. A film about having sympathy for those who are mentally ill, and trying to understand them rather than condone them. In short, Joker is a reality that we can avoid, so let's do our best to listen.